What's going on, everyone? Welcome to another episode of Tooned Up on the Renegade Pop Culture Podcast. I am your host, Mike. Joining me today are my usual band of merry men, Cameron,
Howdy, howdy.
our fearless leader, Keona,
Hello, hello.
and Jacob.
Hi.
Now, before we get started, I'd be remiss if I didn't mention the all the protests going around in honor of George Floyd, who was brutally murdered by a cop. So we want to show our support for George Floyd and his family.
Yeah, Black Lives Matter. What happened to him was horrible, and I hope justice comes. That's all I really have to say. I hope everyone who is participating in the protests are safe. And if you feel like something's about to go from 0 to 60, just stay safe. We're here in support.
Absolutely.
Indeed.
I need to point out that there was a protest in Grand Rapids where I live very close to, and it did get it started off pretty peacefully, and then it got pretty ugly when the state of the Secretary of State's office was burned. There were fireworks in it, and the police station was vandalized and such. And I know most of these are probably carried out by white people who are black people have been trying to stop recently. And just please, I just implore them to just stop with this. This is not helpful to the cause of it. This is doing more harm than good when you're looting other stores. And I obviously I think that that's all secondary to what George went through, but there are better ways to carry this out. And this fellow white people, this is not helpful. Okay, so please, it was very scary to watch this it is, no matter where you stand on this issue, it is hard to see a city that I was born in, no less, be brought down like that. So I just, please try to be safe. Just do these safely, and we just please,
Yeah.
So just keep fighting the good fight, but not in a way that's counterproductive and such. Black Lives Matter.
Indeed.
Yeah, I want to jump in also and offer my support to the cause, and just say that of course Black Lives Matter, and what happened to George was a travesty, and I think it was horrible. Watching the video was just, oh god. Yeah. The fact that it happened with someone who is supposed to protect people is really screwed up, and I hope justice is served. That's all I can say. It's a cold comfort to George Floyd's family, but I really hope that it is served, and I hope that people stay safe, and I hope that people who support the cause will do so peacefully and make their voices heard.
If you want to support the cause, we have a link to a website that will be included in the show notes. So to everyone out there, stay safe, keep fighting the good fight.
Yeah.
With that said, let's move on to something a little bit more positive.
Sorry, there's no good segue out of this. I know a lot of people probably come here and they're like, I didn't sign up for all this drama, and it's just like, yeah, well, it would be bad for
the
us
world right now.
Yeah, so I think let's get started with something a little more positive. what would you say, Mike? We should start with.
Um, I want you to tell me a little bit more about this Promare Collector's Edition.
Oh yeah, let's get to this. So, one of the most successful animated films G Kids, the criterion of foreign animation, have brought over was last year's Promare, made by Studio Trigger, and it was one of their most financially successful and probably one of the most popular releases of that company. So that you can now easily rent it and buy it digitally. You can get it physically. There's a steel bookcase edition. Though, if you're like me, I'm waiting for the collector's edition, which is coming out in August. Which I know it's painful to wait, but it's worth it. What comes with the collector's edition is a CD soundtrack, a 52-page booklet, an English souvenir script, an exclusive mini poster, a decal sticker of the Fire Force, or no, sorry, not Fire Force. Oh Lord, I'm going to piss off a lot of anime fans by saying that anime. Burning Rescue sticker. And it comes with everything that comes with the Blu-ray release. It is $51.99 if you go to shoutfactory.com. Its normal retail price is $64.99.
Wow.
Yeah. You get a lot of stuff.
Yep. Yeah, Promare, that movie, it freaking rocks, man. I'm not even really into this type of anime, this kind of mecha that Studio Trigger's known for, but I watched Promare on VOD, and watching that movie with the lights off is just the best experience ever. Also, just the music is also kick ass. I think we can all agree. We can get to the songs later, but Keona, you want to say something?
Yeah, I wanted to say that I just watched it, actually. I bought the Blu-ray because I didn't know that there was going to be a deluxe edition coming down the line. So,
Ooh.
yeah, I failed to look that up, man.
No,
Oh,
they
but
did not
anyway,
do a good job about announcing it because everybody was like, "Oh, right, I'll get the steel bookcase or the Blu-ray version." And then they're like shortly after they were just or like very close to the release, they announced it and everyone got mad because they're like, "Okay, fine, I'll cancel my normal version so I can wait a few more months and buy this expensive but swag-filled collector's edition." And
yeah,
they said it
yeah,
was very last minute. So it's annoying, but I like don't put too much blame on them. This, like I said, very last minute. They're going to be doing this for the release of Weathering with You, which will be available in September. But they have a
yeah.
collector's edition in the works. So
I'm
yeah,
definitely going to get the collector's edition of that one. So I'm glad that they're advertising it this time. But
yeah,
like, um, I will say this for the movie. I thought it was just so like incredible visually.
mm-hmm.
Like the aesthetic was so cool and the colors that they used were so cool. Just stylistically it was awesome.
Oh yeah.
I haven't been this excited about an anime film for like ages. So this one really just it hit the sweet spot for me. It was pretty awesome. I love the soundtrack, love the visuals. Uh the voice acting, surprisingly, like the English dub was really good. And I hear that the producers actually chose the English cast, the voice cast for that.
yeah,
Really?
Like I read that somewhere. Yeah.
That's
yeah.
awesome.
So
No,
that's pretty cool.
that is
You have some good veterans on there.
yeah, they
Veteran
do.
voice.
And I got to see Promare in theaters,
Oh
and
man.
Nice.
it was wild. Everyone was having a good time. Everyone loved it. And there's a specific scene. I know, Mike, you haven't seen it yet, right?
Correct. I haven't seen it yet, but
Well, I don't want to spoil it, but
based
go
on
ahead.
everything that I've heard, it sounds like a movie that's kind of right up my alley. And
Uh,
I'm a little behind when it comes to like watching anime and anime films, but
mm-hmm.
everything you've told me about this movie alone just makes me that much more excited to finally see it for myself.
Yeah, it was definitely one of those like theatrical experiences that I miss going to a theater for. When there's a one scene that happens between the two male leads, someone
Oh,
got super excited, and then everybody cheered like crazy. It's like someone made the slam dunk winning goal in basketball. So it's
I know exactly what scene you're talking about.
Me too.
yeah. So just for anyone,
Yep.
yeah. But if you don't want to wait, or understandably, you don't want to pay $51 or plus, just get the Blu-ray
Stuff.
edition. You'll be fine. This is just like
Stuff.
the collector's edition is just for like fans of this kind of stuff, and I'm excited to finally own it.
It's definitely worth watching. I will say that.
Yeah, just super earnest, a lot of fun. Definitely
Any
go check it out.
any movie where like the main character says hyper fire safety punch is a winner in my book.
Yeah.
Yes.
Indeed.
Complete win. Okay.
Yeah.
Anyway, all right. Continue on.
No, that's good. No, it's and for anyone who is confused about when I said Fire Force, there's an anime that kind of has a slightly similar premise. It's on Funimation's and streaming site, and there's been kind of a debate about which came first, Fire Force or Promare. It's one of those dumb controversies that you shouldn't really care about, but it's hard to think about without like either anime without bringing up the other and such. So
Okay, so I want to say number one, I think what makes Promare so successful is that it knows exactly who its audience is. All right, it knows what they came to see, and it's not, with so many anime movies trying to be the next Spirited Away, like try to have a more universal appeal. Like Promare, it just says screw all the pretense. Let's just turn it up to 11. Let's just give giant, get all the cliches of the anime mech genre rolled up into one, and it is just glorious. It's both a great love letter to that genre, to fans of that genre, and also a great gateway drug to people who are kind of want to get into that sort of thing. Also, like, legitimate question, what do you guys think is the best song of the soundtrack?
I have to go with Inferno. I love that chanting and such.
You always knew.
Yeah, on and be here for you. And yeah, no, it's such a good song. But that's just me.
Yeah, I agree.
I
agree completely.
Yeah, my favorite's Nexus. That is just
yeah, that's the is that go ahead.
Okay. Okay. Do I come from the far? We're going back. Oh yeah. So spend some time with me. I really like your company. That one.
Yeah.
We're not so different.
I think we blew our chance.
That going, it doesn't matter.
I think
and if we don't survive, I'd rather die than live alive. I love that. Is an obscenely catchy song. Okay, I have been jamming to that song so much. It's
yeah.
that. Okay. Yeah. So
you should sing that at the end of the episode, Jacob.
we might
All right,
we might have blown our chances to get on American Idol. So
anyway, we did better than
but
Scooby and Shaggy.
Yeah,
true. Very true.
Okay. All right. How about we move on to the Tuca and Birdie news?
Yeah, Tuca and Birdie's getting a second season on Adult Swim. How cool is that a Netflix series that got canceled gets to come back on cable?
Well, first off, like, it's really easy to target Netflix. It's really easy to just kind of call them out on a lot of shenanigans. And but this is one of the things that Netflix rightfully gets called out for. They have a very like bad decision-making way of like what gets renewed, what gets canceled. And Tuca and Birdie was one of those victims of the current Netflix way of working, and it's just frustrating because it was a good show. It was a very mature show. It was funny. It was endearing. It was real. And yes, you could argue that maybe it should have had a different art style because it was like aping maybe a little too much from BoJack Horseman, but that's just a minor nitpick. So it looks bad on Netflix that it's like, well, you just lost one of your exclusives to Adult Swim, and this happened to that sitcom One Day at a Time. It got saved by a TV channel. So it's really nice to see that Adult Swim decide to chime in and be like, hey, we'll pick up the show and give you the actual support you need. But sadly we'll have to wait until next year. So
well, that gives me plenty of time to catch up with the first season then. One thing that kind of bothers me about Netflix, and like it's their lack of transparency. And again, we could say this about the other streaming studios, like streaming services as well.
oh, we'll get to
them. Yes, we will get to HBO Max in a second. But about Netflix and their decision making, it sucks for the consumers who have no idea how like certain shows are performing numbers wise. Like sure, Netflix will advertise like, oh, this movie or this TV show is like the most watched thing, but superlatives like that mean nothing when we don't have like hard numbers. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, it's really annoying because they won't say the problem is they will bring out the numbers, but only for something that's super successful, like the Willoughbys. Like it got viewed by what they say, like 37 million people or something, and it's just like
something like that. Yeah,
somewhere around that.
Yeah, and it's just like, okay, what about how many people did not watch Tuca and Birdie for it to get canceled? That's what people really kind of want to know, just so the decision making makes a little more sense. I mean, I understand like non-disclosure agreements and all that jazz, but just like we'll talk about Annecy later, it halts and makes all these conspiracy theories pop up, which are not helpful or healthy to invest time into. And we just want to know what happened. That's all. Fans of the show deserve to know what exactly happened.
Agreed.
Definitely. I haven't even seen it, and yeah, it is. What's weird is like Adult Swim picks up a show from Netflix. It kind of sounds like it should be the other way around, doesn't it? Like, Netflix,
you'd think.
Yeah, Netflix. It built itself up as like this huge savior for animation, especially with adult shows like BoJack Horseman, Big Mouth, and F is for Family, and all that. And yeah, you'd think, and also for other, we'll get to in a second, like how Netflix can be seen as a savior and such. That does surprise me that Tuca and Birdie's being picked up by Adult Swim instead. That is, and also, especially like with streaming being seen as like the big replacement for cable, and now a cable channel is picking up a streaming show. It's not really helpful for the streamers' cause,
Yeah, and yeah, no, it's just I'm glad. I'm a little worried about what may and may not get through in the production of this new season with adults. Like now that it's on Adult Swim, like the whole appeal of being on like Netflix, Amazon, Hulu, or whatever is you're not held down by TV constraints. But now Tuca and Birdie, a very mature show, and it doesn't really kick in until like the third episode with the more mature topics and such. Will Adult Swim be like, yeah, you can do whatever. We'll take the consequences, take the price, and or whatever, you know what I mean? And we'll just have to see. But good job for the team behind Tuca and Birdie. I'm glad y'all got have a second season to work on.
Yeah, good on them for getting that second season. Now, before we move on to Annecy, we have one more pretty big topic, and that is...
Well, actually, we have two, but let's get to the HBO stuff first.
Yeah, let's get to HBO Max, which launched this past Wednesday. Two mixed reviews. First of all, does anyone here have HBO Max?
Yes.
I do, but here's the thing. I'm not really in a rush to watch because the sons of bitches won't put it on Roku.
Okay. See, that's one of the major criticisms.
Yeah,
that
I can only watch it on my laptop.
Yeah, you can, if you have an Amazon Fire Stick or a Roku device, it is not available through those services right now. They say that they will be, but it won't be right now. So that's definitely something I think is legit worth calling out, because it's like every other streaming service has been available or launched on those services. What halted you here? Did Amazon or Roku want more money, or exactly what happened?
Yeah. I don't understand like why those two got left out. Although I can't really complain that much because I don't own a Roku, and the I'm perfectly okay with watching HBO Max on my laptop monitor. Mm-hmm. So that's not really my issue. My issue is the content that is and also isn't there. Now don't get me wrong, there is a lot of programming that they have on HBO Max. People were mostly excited to rewatch Friends, so you got that. You got all the new seasons of Doctor Who.
Yep.
We'll get to originals in a second. But if you're an animation fan, there's a pretty decent selection of old Cartoon Network and Hanna-Barbera shows. My personal beef, though, is the Looney Tunes and Tom and Jerry selections. Because A, they don't have everything, and B, the shorts that they do have, I'm not exactly sure like the rhyme or reason behind them, like why like only some are included but others aren't. I can only assume it's because they're waiting for better remasters. Because otherwise they have the rights to like be in those entire libraries.
Yeah, like what's the point if you're not going to have everything day one? Disney will drag up any corpse from its obscure live action film library, but you can't have all the Looney Tunes and Tom and Jerry shorts. Are you kidding me?
And what's even worse is that in the Tom and Jerry section, they snuck in a few like unrelated Tex Avery shorts.
Fuck.
Yeah, it's like they're the completely random ones too.
That doesn't make any sense. Oh my gosh, that's a little silly. And
yeah,
but yeah, no, that they definitely like they're not making a good case of like being the most expensive of the streaming services, unless of course you go through the loopholes of like, oh, you get it for cheaper or you get it for free if you have this cable provider or net provider or something. And they really just fumbled the ball on making sure this was hugely accessible day one.
Totally.
But and then it's like a lot of the content that I'm hyped for, like I'm rewatching through Adventure Time right now just so I can catch up to the specials, are not out yet. And even though it's great to see uh Close Enough, the new show by the regular show creator, is on there, it's not on there until July. And um and everything, it's just like, why should people get it now and not just wait later, pay for a free trial, burn through all the stuff they want to, and then cancel? Because we're getting back into like the TV way of things where we're going to get bundle, like we're not going to get cable and channel bundles, we're going to get streaming service bundles in the future.
Yeah. About HBO
Yeah.
Max. Man, they had so much going for that. They had so much build up for this streaming service. With all the stuff they have. All the libraries and everything, and then just to see them fumble like this, like, and also
It's
meanwhile,
it's amateur hour.
yeah, exactly, and also
Yeah.
Disney Plus is already sweeping the competition. It's man, Disney Plus, they hit the ball running, didn't they? That they hit they hit the
Yeah,
ground running. I can say they hit.
and yeah, and it's like, yes, it's cool that HBO Max has the US rights to Studio Ghibli, but they shouldn't be saying they have all the Studio Ghibli films when they don't have Grave of the
Brave of the
Fireflies. And
Fireflies.
I'm not super upset about that, not because of the film itself, but it's just because they're going to have to probably wrangle some copyright stuff with Sentai Filmworks because they currently own the rights to that movie, and it's probably their gravy train, if that makes sense, and they're not going to give that up so easily.
I
So
have good news.
well, what?
For those who are upset that Grave of the Fireflies is not on HBO Max, I just found out it is streaming on Hulu.
Yeah.
So at least it's not like locked in Studio Sentai's vault. Like it is available somewhere.
Yeah, no, and since it's Sentai Filmworks, oh, never mind. I was going to say it must be on High Dive, Sentai Filmworks' streaming service. It is not. Um, so yeah, no, that'll be good for people to be able to see it. Granted, not on HBO Max with the rest of the films, but at least you can still see it on Hulu.
Mm-hmm. And what's funny is Disney
Anybody
Plus.
else have any final thoughts? Go ahead.
They just fixed the big problem that people had with the Simpsons episodes, that they were cropped 16. Now you have the option to watch it 4:3 now, so they fixed that. And yet HBO Max still has, on their launch, they have so many bugs to straighten out. It's tragic.
Yeah, it is. Now, normally, like, we're getting close. I know I've hyped Annecy before, and like for a few podcasts now, and we're going to get to it. But today, we finally got some footage for the Sony Pictures Animation US Chinese production of an animated film called Wish Dragon. And it's supposed to come out in November of this year. We'll see what happens there. But since we all finally got to see the trailer, any quick thoughts?
It looks cute. The human characters kind of look like they belong in something like Big Hero 6 or Abominable. That is to say, they're not the most original designs,
Right.
but I love the design of the dragon. He looks appropriately cartoonish.
Mm-hmm.
And I love the kind of fish out of water approach to his character.
Yeah, no, I mean, I've been following this film forever, and it's been tough trying to find information about it because there'd be like, oh yeah, a trailer's coming soon, don't worry, and it's just like we wouldn't hear anything, and then just out of the blue we got a trailer for it. And yeah, I think the CGI is kind of hit and miss. I don't think the trailer is the best first impression they could have made, but I'm sure, or at least hoping that it's going to be a better product, like when it's finally released, or if it's actually getting released here. So, uh, Keona, do you have anything to say?
Yeah, I liked it. The story looked interesting. It looked pretty cute. It looked like, yeah, the human characters seem a little bit derivative in a sense,
Mm-hmm.
but I think it's okay for this movie, and I think the dragon makes up for it. So
Yeah,
I'm definitely gonna check it out. Yeah, it looks interesting.
yeah. The dragon is probably the best animated thing there. It's wildly
Definitely.
expressive, and
Yeah.
I do dig the joke when the dragon lifts up the TV and only the person who summoned the dragon can see it. So they're just kind of like, "What the heck is going on over there?" And it's a cute. It's probably the best joke of the movie, but we'll have to see.
Mhm.
Jacob, do you have anything to say about Wish Dragon?
Yeah, I just want to say it's impressive. Just 3 years ago, when the Emoji Movie came out, people were saying that would be the final nail on Sony Pictures Animation's coffin. Like that's just
Mm-hmm.
crazy to think. And since then, they've made Into the Spider-Verse. They've made and Connected that's been postponed, but it looks really promising. And they they recently won an Oscar for the short Hair Love, and you know and
Mm-hmm.
and then they come out with this Wish Dragon, and it's amazing how far they've come since that. I mean, like, I think we can all agree on that, right?
Yeah,
Even before the Emoji Movie, Sony Pictures has always kind of been um at least on like the mid upper mid tier for me at least, because I get a lot of I have a lot of fun with the Hotel Transylvania franchise.
oh yeah, super funny
Cloudy with a
films.
Chance of Meatballs is like a great first film for Lord and Miller.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Surfs Up is a great movie.
yeah,
I have
there's
not seen
that
that.
too.
It's really good, actually. You would think like because it came out during the time of like Happy Feet and March of the Penguins, but there's some. It's actually really good. You wouldn't think it would be, but it is good. Definitely check it out. And yes, the Emoji Movie was not good. It's that's not rocket science. It was pushed through a very forced and rushed development, and it was going to be dead on arrival no matter what happens. But I think Sony is now becoming the studio that's more willing to try out different art styles than any other studio. I mean, we can see that with Connected coming out, and like I'm rooting for Wish Dragon.
Same.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So, are we ready to finally talk about the Annecy Film Festival?
Yes, let's
Yeah.
do this.
Alrighty. So, this is like to me as an animation fan, my E3. Like E3 is for video games. This is for animation to make an easy like definition for what Annecy is. I mean, granted, it's a place in France, but it's the Annecy International Film Festival. This has been going on for decades. They solely focus on animation, and because of everything going on, um, the festival is going online this year. So and you can go like depending on what kind of experience you want out of the festival. There are two tiers. There's just the festival stuff, like you get to see the films, the shorts, the work in progress, and then there's some MIFA uh, section, which is like more for the business side of things. Like you see lesson like online lessons, pitches for new films or shows or specials. And it's definitely like more of like if you work in the industry, you pay for that one. But for anyone who wants to just enjoy the movies, it basically costs like 10 to 16 bucks, like translated from, you know, French money to English money. um, but I will
It's
say
not bad.
before we get to the selection, I don't. This is the problem with some of the film festivals I follow. This is the same thing I have with animation as film. They do not have a good uh, communication of when they're about to announce stuff and then like get all the details out. It's been really tough to just be like, okay, since this is going to go online, are you guys going to just show a bunch of films that you've previously shown, or is it going to be new films? Well, luckily it's new films, but it's just been tough knowing, like, hearing the information and it only coming out only when it's been like getting closer and closer to when the festival is happening, which is from June 15th to the 30th. So you still have 2 weeks or so. But this is one of my favorite stuff to follow. I usually make a preview guide of like, hey, here's what I think looks interesting at the festival. And many of the Oscar nominated animated films and many of the Annie Award winning films go through here first. You know, like Loving Vincent, The Breadwinner, Mirai. Um, the, I think The Tales of Princess Kaguya came through here also. But like it's just like if you love foreign animation and you want to know kind of like what are the big hyped products, you follow what's going on Annecy, like what's going to be playing there. For this podcast, we're going to be talking about 4 different sections. We're going to be talking about the official feature films in competition category, the Contra Champ category, the work in progress category, and one film in the making of category. We're going to start with the feature films. These are the films out of 76 films that were submitted, the ones that made it through. And the first one we're going to talk about is from Japan. Now, this one is called 7 Days War. It's based on the young adult novel 7 Days War. It's a this is the description on the Annecy page. It's a summer adventure story about Mamoru and his classmates' getaway and their friendship, which is put to the test when adults start chasing them. There's been a trailer release for the film, and it looks like something is up. It looks like a coming of age story, and it's being directed by Yuta Murano, who, if you are a isekai anime fan and you've seen the first season of How Not to Summon a Demon Lord, he was the director of that first season. He's not returning for the second season, but that's neither here nor there. We're talking about the movie. So, any thoughts about 7 Days War?
Look, it looks nice. I like these sort of coming of age approach to the story, and I haven't seen this director's previous work yet, but I do like the like that sort of modern animation style.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I'm looking forward to this one.
Keona, what do you think?
Yeah, same here. I really like the style of it. I like the whole aesthetic is very colorful. It's very cool, very slick. It's the story kind of. It struck me as being a little bit on the timely side for some reason. Like I know it's like a high school sort of like the adolescents run away and like the adults chase after them and stuff. But for some reason that struck me as being kind of timely because of the whole like idea of like maybe they're like hitting back at traditionalism or something. It just kind of, I don't know, something about it just sort of made me think of that theme.
Yeah, no,
So
the trailer talks about something that happened between Mamoru and his classmates, or at least one of his classmates.
yeah.
And they're not entirely saying what happened. I'm hoping nobody
Mhm.
got accidentally killed. Um,
Oh
um,
God, yeah.
but
Jeez.
I think it will look it looks interesting because there's definitely something a little more there because obviously
Mhm.
from the trailer they say this is not the first 7-day war, so I'm going to
Yeah,
be curious to see what happens. Jacob, have any
it really.
thoughts?
It looks cool. Yeah, it's interesting to see young kids being caught up in so much drama and like clearly a lot of bad shit is happening. And
Hmm.
yeah, I think I think like you said, Keon, I think it does have potential to be timely. Yeah, there's not much more I can add. You know, it looks very nice. I love the backgrounds. Like it does kind
Hmm.
of look. Do the backgrounds look a little more photorealistic than usual to you guys?
Yeah,
A
I kind
little
of
bit.
noticed that. A
Yeah.
lot of films I think are trying to capture that Makoto Shinkai background shots.
Exactly.
That's what it was.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
that's going to happen a lot because when your name was released, oh my gosh, every animation studio in Japan wanted a Your Name, and we got like a silent voice, fireworks, and
Hmm.
I Want to Eat Your Pancreas, which is actually a really
What?
sad movie, and it's not about zombies, so just ignore the title.
Darn.
So,
Yeah, I've heard of
I'll,
it
I'll
too. I'm just playing along.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So we're gonna skip uh, Bigfoot family, and like I said, this is just what I find interesting. If people who liked 2018 Son of Bigfoot, which is not related to Missing Link or Abominable or Smallfoot, this is a sequel to a film that came out direct to video here, but we're not going to talk about that. Um, the next one we're going to move on to is called Calamity: The Story of Martha Jane Canary. This is being directed by Remy Shea. This is a French and Denmark production. And if Remy Shea and the art style looks familiar, they were the director. He was the director of the film from 2016, Long Way North, which is a great film. I think everyone should just watch that movie. So, as if the name didn't give it away, it's about a young Calamity Jane, or as the description says, 1863, a convoy in the American West. Martha Jane needs to learn how to take care of horses to drive the family wagon, except she ends up wearing pants and cutting her hair. The scandal that its stark character provokes will force her to face all the dangers in a gigantic and wild world where everything is possible. All right, so Mike, we'll start with you. What do you think?
Um, I'm kind of sad I couldn't find a trailer for this one, but as someone who loves westerns and is especially fascinated with Calamity Jane,
Mm-hmm.
this one just seems right up my alley. Um, and I've also kind of been saying like for a while that I want to see more like animated westerns
Mm-hmm.
because first of all, the western genre um, itself is kind of underrated by today's standards. Like
Right.
it used to be a bigger deal like in the 50s through the 70s, but now it's a little bit more niche.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm excited to see like what this director can do with the genre.
Yeah, unfortunately, a lot of the biggest hurdles of following foreign animation is that they don't release trailers like how Hollywood does. It's like we might have a pitch trailer to show you, maybe a teaser, but an official trailer is unfortunately not found. And to find the tech demo trailer for this, you have to go to some sites. And Keona, what do you think?
I thought it looked really interesting. Visual style, I'm kind of liking it. I like the fact that it's a western, like Mike said, and I like the main character. Like she seems like an interesting, just she's going to be a narrative force in this, which I find very interesting. And also, it always gets me when they challenge gender norms and these types of things. Like I like the fact that it's like except she ends up wearing pants and cutting her hair and she looks like a little boy, and she kind of like does
Thing, yeah,
stuff that a little girl would not normally do. So I think that was interesting
yeah,
too.
yeah.
So yeah.
Jacob, any thoughts?
I watched Long Way North to prepare for this podcast, and I really liked it. I was very pleasantly surprised. I thought it was going to be a more swashbuckling Indiana Jones type of adventure movie, and that
Mm-hmm.
really wasn't the case with that one. It was a very somber, very meditative, very low key animated, and I really liked that. I liked how it was a girl power movie, but not a cliched Hollywood sort of thing. It was a
Mm-hmm.
um, it was a very melancholic. It was surprisingly melancholic, I will say.
Yeah.
It was a very deep, very introspect movie. I was a very mature. It's very, and I love the art style too. I love the characters that don't have outlines. So like all the characters and from these two movies, they kind of look like blobs of color. If and that
Mm-hmm.
I just find that really appealing. It's like something you'd see in a kid's book. I always love it. I love that when anime movies just look like a book you'd see at an elementary school library, and I think this has potential as well. I'm if this is anything like Long Way North, it's gonna be really cool.
Yeah, no, I think a lot of people get kind of caught off guard by the art style. Like I showed the Long Way North to my family, and then they were kind of like, I don't know, and I'm just kind of like, you got to sit with it, and then they ended up loving it at the end.
The
Um,
character designs are really cool.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's a very
Yeah.
one of the things about foreign animation is that they're more willing to try out different art styles. Like if you complain
Mhm.
about like
Sure.
how every quote unquote Hollywood animated film looks the same, which I get it. I'm not saying that those comments aren't justified, but just go look at the foreign animation scene, especially stuff coming out of Europe. Um, they got some great stuff coming out. So we move from France and Denmark to Russia, a country that has had a very fruitful animation history, a lot of propaganda, but still very fruitful. This film is called Ginger's Tale. It's about a. So here's the description. Potter, a kind and poor guy, finds a magical artifact called the Stone of Fire that makes him rich and mean. The evil queen decides to kill him so she can take the Stone of Fire. Only a girl called Ginger can save Potter with her devotion. Yeah, sorry, I have to read a lot of this from from it, not the best translations. So, um, I think this looks interesting. It's a 2D animated film, and it looks very hand drawn, which is like there's a certain style and vibe that you get from seeing stuff that was like hand drawn, like when you saw Klaus. Like you would say there's a different vibe to that film than say you saw the Willoughbys and whatnot. Um, okay, Mike, what did you think?
I really like the um, very classic design of these characters. It reminds me of a lot of the movies from like the Disney Renaissance or like the Don Bluth era.
Mm-hmm.
That and another film we'll get to later. I'm really liking how these foreign animation studios are kind of they're influenced by what's come before, but kind of incorporate sort of like a modern, you know, modern storytelling elements to it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just a general thought I had about like all the trailers that I watched that um, like they each had their own unique take on animation. It wasn't there wasn't like a stock um like a stock character model for any one film. They all have their own identity, which is really cool.
Yeah, no. A lot of the times, most foreign animated films will look very distinct from one another. Not to say that this is like with every animated film that comes out from um, other non-US countries. There's a lot of garbage that like you see Lionsgate bring over.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so Keona, what did you think?
It looked very interesting to me. So I would say that for me, the animation style reminded me a little bit of Don Bluth. Kind
Yeah,
of.
I absolutely see that.
Yeah, it reminded me a little bit of like, like the main character's design reminded me a little bit of Milo from Atlantis,
It
Yeah,
does.
kind of.
I absolutely see that also.
Yeah, so it's an intriguing story. It's not anything that we haven't seen before, but it's intriguing, and the animation's really really good,
Yeah,
like really smooth.
I think the coloring of the animation looked a little off to me, but it also it's just dragging up like all the memories of like when digital coloring was new, and like this was before people
Yeah.
put shadows, and we're like, oh hey, we don't need to choose the most garish colors to brighten everything and just
Yeah.
ruin the designs because we're working
Yeah.
on a smaller budget. Jacob, any thoughts?
I wasn't really paying attention to what was happening in the trailer. I was kind of more distracted, like because they didn't have any subtitles. I was like, "What the hell is happening?"
Mhm.
You know. Um. I'm looking at a little bit of it right now, and what you guys said. I do. It has kind of warmed up to me. Like I can see why you guys can see the appeal in
Mhm.
this. Yeah, and it's like I don't know if Russia has really had a good track record when it comes to animated movies like other countries have.
Mhm.
I think the last I hear the really critically acclaimed anime movie from Russia was The Snow Queen from the 50s.
Mhm.
That was actually the movie that inspired Miyazaki, which that's a little fun fact for you.
Mhm.
But
All
it
right.
looks okay.
Alrighty. Let's move on to the next film, a film from Poland, called "Kill It and Leave This Town." Such an uplifting name. Uh, so this is a 2D film that uses also some CGI or computer tech to give this film a very papercraft 2D storybook look. Also kind of looks like, doodles that you put in your high school textbook and whatnot. This one's being directed by Mariusz Wilczynski. I apologize if I did not say that name correctly. The description says, fleeing from despair after losing those dearest to him, the hero hides in a safe land of memories. Over the years, a city grows in his imagination. Literary heroes and cartoon childhood idols come to live there, uninvited. When our hero discovers that all have grown old and that eternal youth does not exist, he decides to return to real life. This is when we start to get to the more artsy choices of animated films in the festival. There's a mix of family friendly, there's something there for everyone. Obviously, this one is a little geared towards the art crowd and the adult crowd. Michael, let's start with you. What did you think?
Of all the more artsier trailers I watched, this one might actually be my favorite. Because I don't know why, but I am really kind of drawn, no pun intended, to this sketchbook aesthetic. There's just something very maybe it's just like the description of the story also kind of has me fascinated too.
Right.
But this movie is kind of like the perfect example of the limitless possibilities when it comes to animation, and how even like the most like like even this kind of design, like the designs of characters that are very very sketchy. Um, like you can there's still like the narrative potential for something really special.
Yeah, we'll talk about this in one of the Contra Shop films in that category. But a lot of the times, a lot of foreign animation films run the risk of being a little too much about the style than the substance, and it can get very grating if you are not up to this kind of film. And I think there's definitely, I agree. I think there's a lot of story potential. Keona, what did you think?
It's interesting tonally. Like watching the trailer the first time I saw it, I was like, I don't think I'm into this. And then the second time I saw it, it made a lot more sense, and I like where they're going with the story. I think it's an interesting, very introspective take, and also dark, like surprising.
Yeah,
Um, it's not, it's not typical fare, so I thought it was interesting and intriguing enough that I definitely want to see the film. Um, the style is very different for me, so I don't know how I'm going to respond to like a long film version of that.
mm-hmm.
But in terms of the story itself, I think it's going to be very uh, revealing or enlightening. I would say that, yeah, and I like the techniques that are used for this one. So
Yeah,
I'm interested.
yeah. Another advantage that a lot of foreign animation has is that they're not tied down to like, oh, we got to be a PG family movie,
Mm-hmm.
and
Exactly.
this is one of those films where it's like, oh yeah, you do not want your kids to watch this; they will be confused and terrified.
Severed head talking about the nature of evil.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jacob, any thoughts?
Actually, what the art style kind of reminded me of was Mouse, that graphic novel.
Mhm.
You guys remember Mouse?
Alrighty. Now I'm sure there's probably like a small chanting crowd behind me, so
Oh,
we'll move. Oh, go ahead.
what? Oh, wait. Actually, it reminded me of Mouse, by Art Spiegelman. You are aware of that, right? The graphic novel about the Holocaust and how the cats were the Nazis and the Jews were the mice.
Oh
Oh
yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Oh, I don't know why, but yeah, actually, like you guys said, it definitely looks different. Like I'm all for anime movies that have a darker tone. Like even if I'm not completely enthralled to them at first when I first see them, um
Right.
like this Magnificent Cake I watched just recently. I was like, this is a very very weird movie. Eh,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how many of our listeners have even heard of it, but yeah, I liked it. As I kept thinking about it, I think it really grew on me, as surreal movies tend to, and I think this has potential as well. I'm willing to give this one a shot.
Awesome. Well, we shall travel back to the land of the rising sun because there's probably people wondering, it's like, talk about Lupin the Third the First, because one of the biggest highlights of the official selection is the gentleman thief himself, Lupin the Third, in his first ever CGI venture called, well, Lupin the Third the First. The famous Lupin and his motley crew joined forces with the young Letitia, I don't know if I said that name correctly, to steal a very special diary that even his Lupin's grandfather was not able to steal. So kind of pretty typical fare, but a lot of the hype for this is the fact that it's, like we've just said on like a broken record, it's his first CGI venture, and it looks amazing. Like, at least for like Japanese animation. They're not really known for their CGI film fare. There are a few films out there, but there's not a whole lot to compare and contrast. And you can absolutely not compare this to the TV CGI animation, because that's an entirely different beast. This film is directed by Takashi Yamazaki, who recently, earlier this year, and well, I guess last year, since it was released there first, and then here in February on Netflix, was the director for Dragon Quest: Your Story. So, I don't like that film, but do not judge the director's talent on that one film going into this one. So, Mike, any thoughts?
The very first thing this trailer reminded me of is the Adventures of Tintin. In terms of, to my knowledge, I don't think this is a Lupin the Third origin story. Like, it's not a reboot.
No, it's just Lupin the Third plays fast and loose with continuity. So
okay, great.
Yeah.
That just adds to my point about Tintin. How it just kind of feels like this movie is another adventure. And that's what I liked about the Adventures of Tintin as well. Like, it's a movie that just, like, it just puts you right in the middle, and you're just spending like a day in the life of these characters. Now I'll admit I'm not like the biggest Lupin the Third fan. I'm a casual at best, but I am very excited to see how this property translates to CG animation.
Yeah, and one thing I want to comment is that, like, I don't mean to drag Scoob into this, but
I knew Scoob would come up at some point.
I think Lupin the Third the First is the... Yeah, no, and I feel bad about that, but Lupin the Third the First is the proper way to bring a 2D franchise into CGI. When you watch the trailer, it gets all the little mannerisms correct, like when you see Lupin jump out of a group of cops that dogpiled him, and he like shimmies upwards, snaps the waistband on his boxer's back. Like, it's not trying to be realistic, even though the texture work looks a little more realistic. The cartoon designs still look like Lupin, Fujiko, Jigen, Goemon, Zenigata. They still all look like they belong there. And now it's just how you bring that property to life. Keona, any thoughts?
No weird, like, sort of photorealistic, like, Simon Cowell faces in this one.
That movie's never going to live that down. But yeah, any thoughts about the trailer or how the film looks itself?
So Lupin the Third, not a character I'm very familiar with, actually. Like, I haven't seen any of the Lupin the Third movies, actually. But from what I saw of the trailer here, it looks really, really good. Like, I mean, I've seen bits and pieces. Like, I've seen, like, little videos on YouTube and stuff like that. So the translation of the animation, like you said, from 2D to 3D is actually really, really good. I also thought that, like, the humor was spot on. It made sense for a Lupin the Third movie to move and to feel the way that it does. Like, the tone was really good. And yeah, I'm on board for this one. I think this is the best one out of the bunch.
Yeah, I know a lot of people are excited about this. The one drawback and concern is that since this is going online, they have yet to say which films are going to be viewable in full, or if you're just going to get like 10 or so minutes of it, because they have to work around with some legal distribution things with other countries, which I understand. But if this is not one of those films that you get to see in full, I'm going to get grumpy. Let's just say that.
Yeah, no, I'm with you there.
Jacob, any thoughts?
I have watched The Castle of Cagliostro, which is Hayao Miyazaki's first movie, and I just want to put this. I met the guy who was the voice for Lupin in that film, David Hayter, at a Comic-Con recently, and he didn't know that it was a Miyazaki movie. He for when he was brought on to record it, he only found out after the fact. And I just want, because when am I going to get a chance to mention this again? But it looks awesome. The CGI movie, it looks really cool. I love how they remember that it's a Lupin movie, so it doesn't take itself too seriously.
Mm-hmm.
It's actually, people may say that Lupin's like the James Bond of anime. He's really more like the Robin Hood of anime in a sense. Like he is a scoundrel, flat out. He is
Mm-hmm.
um
He's a thief.
exactly. So
Yeah.
I'm really looking forward to it. It looks a lot of fun. The action scenes look incredible. Um, it's actually rumored that Spielberg was influenced by Castle Cagliostro to make the car chase in Raiders of the Lost Ark.
I believe that.
I believe that.
Mhm.
Like for people who are not familiar with the franchise, it's a bit of rough waters of getting into Lupin the Third, just because it's like, where do you start? There are TV specials, OVAs, multiple TV series. Start with Castle Cagliostro, not just because it's Miyazaki, but it's like the most like easy to get into movie. You can buy it on from Discotheque Media, worth every penny. It's such a fun movie, and for Miyazaki's first film that went through a really short production, like if I remember correctly, they did not have a whole lot of time to make this movie, which is a criticism you can aim at the anime industry, but that's not the point here. Just watch that movie. But yeah, Lupin the Third to First is probably the most like the most like aware film like people are aware of out of the Annecy lineup. So we move from Japan to Chile and Brazil with Nahuel and the Magic Book. Nahuel lives with his father in a fishing town, yet he has a deep fear of the sea. One day he finds a magical book that seems to be the solution to this problem, but a dark sorcerer is after it and captures Nahuel's father. This is when his journey to rescue his father and overcome his fears begin. So, South America does not have a very popular animation scene, or at least from what I've seen, it's kind of hit and miss. And then some of the stuff that does come out of there is notorious for like internet reasons. Though if you had to watch a film from Brazil, watch Tito and the Birds. That's a great way. That's a great place to start.
And Boy in the World.
Now there was no trailer for this, but there was a teaser trailer for Nahuel, and if you look at the page for it, the film on the website, you can tell it went through a art direction change. It looks less from the storybook style look to more of like Hilda and Steven Universe. Mike, thoughts?
I was just gonna bring up Hilda um as like an example of what the art style remind me of.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, this story looks really good. It looks like it's probably gonna be one of those movies that tries to balance between the light character designs, but with like a dark,
Darker
dark
tone.
thematic elements.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's like kind of the way a lot of animated films and TV series are heading towards anyway.
Yeah, no, and I know there's a lot of like, well, I don't know how to properly phrase this, but there's a lot of people online who take issue with this art style, and they need to get over it. Mm-hmm. Every decade of animation has had a very distinct art style, going all the way back to when animation began. Everything looked like that whole rubber hose thing, and then in the 60s, you had everything that looked like Underdog and Rocky and Bullwinkle, even though half of those shows were, made by two different people. And then, like, of course, the 70s and 80s when Hanna-Barbera was at their strongest. A lot of shows used the same art design and character, like teams of people who worked on multiple shows from that time period. And the unfortunate term that's been thrown around is the Cal Art style, even though the people who make shows like Steven Universe did not go to Cal Arts. And the term was coined by a guy who is now blacklisted from the industry and had sexual assault charges against him. So, yeah, I wouldn't really want to die on that hill if I was anyone wanting to complain about this art style. Not to say that you have to love it. I understand. But just know where some stuff like this comes from. Keona, thoughts?
Pitch trailer looked interesting. Story sounds interesting. I'm in for it. Yeah, the character designs, it's a little, for me it's a little bit younger skewing maybe. But I'll give it a shot.
We need to see, like, I'm all for supporting Brazil and like Mexico and such for their animation scene. Jacob, any thoughts before we move on?
It looks cool. It's interesting that you guys brought up Hilda. That wasn't really about it all. It does look a little more polished than Hilda, I think. It yeah, I don't know if I would I thematically it's similar to Hilda, but I think it does have a more painterly aspect to it. It's more subdued. It's more, I think it's I don't know how similar it is in terms of how they present these magical elements, but yeah, it looks a little darker than Hilda, I will say that.
Yeah, no, we'll have to see. Like I said, a lot of the times it's hard to find information or footage of these kind of films, so we're kind of going in blind. I don't know anything. I hope it's good. So, one of the last two films in the main competition category is called Petite Vampire or Little Vampire. This is a 2D animated film from France, directed by Jean Savard, who is a illustration individual and animator and director whose previous work includes the film he helped produce called Aya of Yop City, and the 2013 film he directed called The Rabbi's Cat, both of which are now available from G Kids. Unfortunately, there was no trailer for this film, and any footage that you may have found on YouTube are for a TV series or like a web series. So it's not like, it's not like this is what the final product looks like. And plus, they were uploaded like a decade ago. So unfortunately, we do not have a lot of information about this one, but I trust this director. I think he's put out some good, or at the very least, very interesting work. If you want to find like maybe what the film will look like, IMDb has a few photos of it. Just do not type in Little Vampire trailer. There are just so many trailer videos of this one CGI vampire film because of it has like the same name for some reason. Mm-hmm. So, does anyone have any thoughts before we move on? Because I apologize about this one not having a lot of information.
I just want to say that I fell into the trap of finding the wrong Petite Vampire because when I tried to look for a trailer, it the first thing that came up was episodes of that web series.
Mm-hmm.
So, this is kind of another one where I share your frustration with, these movies not really having sufficient information to build hype and awareness.
Yeah, and unfortunately that's the problem right now, and I'm sure after this podcast goes up they'll be like, hey, we got a trailer, and it's just like, oh my gosh.
If there is one, I'll
yeah.
add it. I'll add it in the show notes.
Yeah.
But they had me at his trusted bulldog Phantomato.
Oh, I did not talk about the story. I apologize about that.
Yeah, the plot.
Yeah,
looks
little
interesting,
vampire
so-
lives in a haunted house with a merry group of monsters, but he is bored stiff. One night, he secretly sneaks out of the manor along with his trusted bulldog, Phantomato, on a quest to find some new friends. It looks cute. I think it's
You had me at trusted
yeah.
bulldog. Yeah. you go.
J-
I don't know how one lives in a haunted house with a merry group of monsters, but is bored stiff.
well,
I would think that would be a lot.
I
of fun.
guess Dracula's daughter from Hotel Transylvania can give us a point of reference. Yeah,
that's true.
So, Jacob, any thoughts, or should we just move on to the last film?
Yeah, I'm glad that I'm not the only one who's had problems looking up information for this. Yeah. I have seen the Rabbi's Cat and Aya of Yob City, and this Jones Farr guy, he tends to have a sort of satirical elements. Like there's a lot of commentary to his work, and I'm interested to see if he does bring any of that to this one. I think we'll just this is a wait and see. I'm not really looking forward to it. I'm not dreading it. We'll just have to wait and see. It's a definite maybe for me.
Alrighty then. So, final film in the competition category is called The Nose or The Conspiracy of Mavericks, a Russian 2D film using 2D animation and cutouts, kind of like a Terry Gilliam cartoon or like the Monty Python stuff. The story goes to Stalin's reign of terror in Russia during the first half of this 20th century, described using a combination of historical settings, biographies, and masterpieces from Russian avant-garde artists, composers, and writers from the totalitarianism period. So, only a clip is available from this, but it looks a little, maybe bonkers, to put it lightly. Any thoughts, Mike?
When one of your characters is a nose, you kind of have to brace yourself.
Yeah. No, Russia animation has a very good history, or like bountiful history of satirical political commentary and parody. So this is definitely something not new to the country. Keona, any thoughts?
Totally not really my thing. Because I think I lack the background to really understand what they're trying to satirize.
Yeah.
So I don't know. This is the one where it's like out of all the ones that we've talked about and that we've kind of seen, this is the film where I'm kind of like, I don't know if I'm gonna entirely get this one.
No, that's the problem with a lot of Russian animated films that decide to tackle political commentary. It's very of the time.
Mm-hmm.
So you better know what you're getting into, or else you're just going to be confused.
But I like the idea behind it. I like the idea that they're satirizing like totalitarianism and things like that. Because
Jacob, any thoughts?
What this kind of reminded me of was the works of Michel Osolo, the Kyokiri and the Sorcerer, and Azu and Asmar, I think, was another film he did. Did you get that vibe?
Yeah.
Cameron, did you? Like I said, it's I like the idea of what's basically a feature-length political cartoon brought to. I think that's one way to bring a graphic style to animation.
Yeah.
I'm interested to see, and I wonder if it's going to be any timely. If they'll ever hint on what's going on right now between the USA and Russia. You know.
Good point.
So
no, we'll have to see.
We'll have to see. Yeah, it's
all right. So yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, that's
right.
mostly what we can say about for all of these movies. Just wait and see.
Yeah, you're gonna have. Yeah, unfortunately, that's kind of the motto for this episode of the podcast. You're gonna have to wait and see.
And as if we get a chance to actually
Alright.
see these movies.
Yeah. So the next category we'll be talking about is the Counterchamp category, which is the category for films of the animation variety, of course, that challenge the medium and the visual style of animation and like what you could consider animation. So this is where we're probably going to get a lot of the more indie art house stuff. The first film is from Croatia. It's called The Accidental Luxuriance of the Translucent Watery Rebuse. That's a mouthful of a title.
That's the winner for best title right there.
This is what like the trailer for it by director Dalibor Beric, who has made shorts before. You can go to the director's Vimeo page and watch clips of the shorts and then the trailer on at top. The description goes: Martin tried to fight the system and now he's on the run. Sarah is a conceptual artist. Together they join the revolutionary commune in the countryside. The police are on their trail. Inspector Ambrose knows the right questions are more important than the answers, because maybe none of this is true. This is the one I'm the most like, this looks style over substance. The visual flair of the film is a little much, and I'm worried that the story is going to get lost under the visuals. And you don't really want that to happen, because if I'm confused about what's going on, or it's just like I'm confused about what I'm seeing on screen, then I'm going to lose interest. Any thoughts?
I have similar concerns, but at the same time, I was also just kind of hypnotized by the style. So I don't think I would see myself losing interest in the feature film proper.
Mm-hmm.
But I do have concerns that that this is going to be one of those movies that's a little bit too heady, too style over substance.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Keona, any thoughts?
It reminds me of the sort of like the CG incidental movies that you would see in like or like the CGI sort of that you would see in like a Fallout game for some reason.
Yeah.
And it reminds me of like oh god, what was I thinking of? Oh yeah, so this game that came out last year that was called Control, that had that weird sort of almost 1950s-ish kind of feel to it. So visually it's interesting. It looks almost live action.
Yeah.
Because of the rotoscoping,
I think they do use rotoscope. Rotoscope, and as they describe it, diverse techniques.
Techniques. Very intriguing, but I don't know if I'll. It's again, it might be a little over my head. So,
Jacob, any thoughts?
It looks cool. I don't mind movies that are just pure style. I do think that movies like this, they do have substance. You just have to squint a little more than usual to see it. But or sometimes maybe you just want to see some cool stuff, some collage, and sometimes I just into that sort of thing. So I want to give this one a shot. It's a feature length collage that's kind of reminiscent of like very experimental college shorts. I want to check it out. I want to check. I just because sometimes I just want to see cool visual shit.
True.
Yeah, sometimes you just want to sit back, smoke some pot, and then see what happens.
Mary Jane.
So our next film, So our next film is from South Korea. It's called Beauty Water, and this was a pain to find information on because you will be led through a rabbit hole of beauty products and what looks like to be a very bad romantic comedy. Except when you look at the page that Beauty Water is on, the film directed by Kyung Hoon Cho. There's a woman standing there, and then way off in the corner, there is a horrifying corpse standing there. The description, it says, Beauty Water looks like a common skin cosmetic. Oh, yeah, you don't say. But unlike the other cosmetics, people can sculpt their skin with it like molding clay and change their appearance. An ordinary girl, Yeji, comes across the beauty water by chance, and her endless desire to be the most beautiful woman brings her unimaginable disaster. So yeah, this is going to be a horror movie. There's no other way to look at this. This looks creepy. This is, and unfortunately, there's no trailer for it. So the image that you see on the page is the only thing we can reference. It looks interesting, and that's kind of something you don't see in animation, is horror or more like scarier elements. It's usually dialed back for like family friendly or kid friendly Halloween specials. But this, yeah, if your kids see this movie, they're probably going to have nightmares for a while.
It reminds me of like a Twilight Zone kind of concept.
I thought about Batman the Animated Series with Clayface.
I was thinking that too.
Clayface, yeah.
Yeah.
Totally.
No, so unfortunately there's go ahead.
I'm sorry, there's a comic that's called I think it's called Beauty, which is basically about something similar to this. Like, it sounds like a very similar plot to me. But yeah, it looks cool. It looks cool. I'm in for it. Definitely. Character designs look awesome.
So, Jacob, any thoughts?
It's obviously a critique on the cosmetics industry. Like I said, horror, I'm all for. Yeah, horror is a genre that's really underused in animation, and that's such a shame because, with all the kind of visual stuff you can utilize animation for, and horror, you can come with some really scary visuals, and to see like no one run with that, it's a shame. And hell yeah, I'm all for animated horror. Bring it on! I want to check this out.
Alrighty. So our next film is a unique one.
There's one thing I want to point out.
Oh, go ahead.
So I'm not too familiar with South Korea's animation scene, but between this and the animated sequel to Train to Busan, I would love it if South Korea kind of leaned in on horror for animation.
Right.
And that's why I'm really rooting for this one to succeed, because we kind of need more of that in the medium.
Right. I agree. So we're going to move from one kind of horror to another with a film from Latvia and Norway called My Favorite War, directed by Ise Bukovska Jacobsen. And this is a unique one because it's partially a documentary style film, but it's told through these visuals of 2D cutout characters. This is a personal story of the director Ise growing up in the Cold War Latvia, USSR. It's a coming-of-age story, a personal escape route from the mighty authoritarian regime's brainwashing. An anti-war film emphasizing the importance of an individual's freedom being a democratic society's fundamental right. So, despite its children's book style looks, it's going to have some heavy themes to talk about. Thoughts?
Yeah. This one, just based on the sound of it, it's gonna be a heavy one.
Yeah, it's tough to talk about. Like, there was a film either 2 Annecies ago called Another Day of Life, which was about a Polish journalist going through Africa during a rebellion or a war, and it's definitely like something that you can see animation tackling because of the visual freedom that it comes with it. Any other thoughts, y'all?
This was one where on the surface level, it didn't quite grab me because it reminded me a little bit of Flash animation. But looking at the story, though, it definitely is one that I want to give a shot.
Yeah. So normally I try to keep out all of the film, like the weirdest, or I'm sorry, Jacob, do you have anything to add?
Yeah. Also, another documentary that we should talk about is Walter Bashir. Uh, did you get that? Okay. Walter Bashir. That's an animated movie. It's another document that utilizes the documentary style really well, and yeah, it's something that does work surprisingly well. Animation documentary. People wouldn't think that those two really blend together perfectly, but yeah, I'm interested to see. And like you said, the heavier themes, it's gonna help make this movie stand out. And yeah, and yep, it's definitely a darker style. Visually, it does look very dark, and that fits perfectly with it. And it's interesting. It's a more cartoony style because you'd expect an anime documentary to look a little more realistic, but they are using like real footage for this too. And yeah, animation documentary on the way, baby.
Yeah. All right, so normally I try to keep out the weird movies, the ones that are like the absolute weirdest, maybe a little too weird for our own good. And I try to keep out like some of the more family friendly fodder because you come to Annecy for the unique stuff. You really can't get more unique than Old Man the Movie, which is a stop motion film from Estonia, directed by Miki Majai and Oskar Lehema, which is about a old man who has a prized cow that gets stolen, and the whole plot and the stakes are if this old man doesn't milk this cow, the cow's gonna go off like a bomb.
What?
Yeah, so it like on like a visual level, it looks a little off. It looks a little limited. Like you don't hear the voice, you don't see the lip flaps move. It's a wildly like, oh my gosh, what is this movie kind of thing. But yeah. So look,
I just felt bad for the cow.
Yeah.
The cow's like
Yeah, no, it's a
in
weird movie. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know how well received this movie's going to be, and I hope it leans into the whole absurdity of the situation. I almost contemplated not putting it on the list, but I felt like we got to have one laugh.
Lactopolyps.
Yeah, just
did anyone
I don't know.
Did anyone watch the trailer with subtitles or no? Because the one that Cameron, the link that you sent me did not have subtitles, so I had no context to any of what's going on.
Yeah, no, that's the problem. That some of these don't have subtitles, and so you kind of had to like look at the description, and yeah. So we're almost done with this. I apologize that this is a very beefy episode. So let's go back to Japan again with a film that I have been very excited for. It's been going around the festival circuit since last year, and it's been winning awards in a couple of them. It's called Ongaku Our Sound. It's being directed by Kenji Iwaisawa. It's a 2D animated film with some rotoscope mixed into it at points. It's about 3 Japanese school delinquents who just one day they just want to start a band, and they end up loving it, and shenanigans ensue from becoming a big deal to a rival thug group, or not thug group, but a like school delinquents, and it to me this is what kind of I think about indie when it comes from Japan, because it has a very distinct art style that you don't see, because like anime has such a distinct style, and this seems like so anti-anime,
It's so counter
Yeah,
to it.
it's kind of like Crayon Shin-chan kind of designs.
Exactly. Yes, it reminded me of that. Yeah.
The main character does kind of look like the lead from One Punch Man, but that's only the design. That's only
Yes.
the design of the head. The eyes though are something I don't think I've even seen before.
Yeah, no, this is a very distinct style, and um, it's like ever since I've found out about it and seen the trailer, which there's one trailer out there with English subtitles. Um, but yeah, this one looks great. I think this is the one that looks the best out of the films in the Contra Jump section, and it's definitely the one.
It looks like a movie that's very like it has my sensibility, and not just because it's about a band.
Yeah, no, it's a very charming looking movie. Um, so our next film, some context. Every year for Annecy, a country or continent is like the guest of honor there. Like 2 years or so ago, it was China. Last year it was Japan, and this year is Africa. Unfortunately, Africa is not fully uh, there in terms of like films. So the only one that I could find that made in the running, and maybe there's more in the shorts, but we're not going to talk about the shorts. Is called The Knight and the Princess, a true story with a fictional twist. So like a Hollywood Oscar bait film. Um, an unwavering young warrior's determination to save abducted women and children from pirates leads him to fall in love with a princess and confront a brutal tyrant and his devious sorcerer. So
this is the other movie that I was talking about earlier that really kind of captures that like that Disney Renaissance / Don Bluth style.
Yeah, no, it's
very much.
It definitely has a style that's inspired by it. I'm a little worried that the trailer that we got kind of, showed the whole movie because it's a 2 minute and 31-second long trailer. And I'm a little worried about how the story structure is going to go because it looked a little busy, and maybe it's just that's because the trailer was so long. And the animation style is inconsistent because it moves from 2D to CGI depending on certain shots.
That's a criticism that I do have. Like it looks a bit it looks a bit kind of clunky, like the integration of the CG and 2D animation.
Yeah, it reminds me of some of the later direct-to-video Disney films that had like The Fox and the Hound 2, where where it was super obvious where the CGI went, and not to say that like I'm curious to see. Yeah, it definitely looks like it needed a more consistent art style. Though I hope the directors Bashir Eldik and Ibrahim Mosa, I hope the movie's good. I hope like if it is watchable and full, I hope I enjoy it because Africa is starting to have a blooming animation scene from what I've researched, and they had a CGI animated film from 2 years ago or so called Bilal that was actually really impressive for a CGI film from that country. So we're going to move next to China, which has another bountiful animation scene with a film called The Legend of Hei. I hope I said that correctly because it's HEI. It's directed by Ping Zhang.
I think so.
And it's based off of a web comic. This one caught a lot of attention because of its really nice 2D visuals. The story is the story is for generations humans had thought that demons were legends, but they actually coexist with us. Hei is a cat demon who has lived a happy life in the forests and the mountains until the city rampantly expands and the deforestation destroys his homeland. Here, he begins his journey wandering the world in search of his new home. A problem that I have encountered with animated films from China is that if you watch films like Big Fish and Begonia, it's a very busy movie. A lot of different looking characters and a story that's a little too compact, or like it's too like busy for its own good. And seeing the trailer for this, it still looks good, but I'm worried about how the story is going to go. Any thoughts?
It's a valid concern.
Looks cute.
Yeah.
That's all I have to say, really. It's
I-
just
Yeah, go ahead.
yeah. I still want to watch Big Fish and Begonia just because I'm just so interested in seeing a Chinese animated movie that is explicitly Chinese. You know, like because also another
Yeah.
anime movie that came around that time from China was Rock Dog.
Oof.
What?
Rock Dog is fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, like
No, and Real Effects was in charge of that animation, so that whole film has a whole production history that's interesting. So,
yeah.
Keona, any thoughts?
Yeah, I'm in for this one. I really like the 2D art style and the animation.
Mhm.
So
Very fluid.
I like how a lot
Looks
of
good.
films on like these lists are 2D animated.
yeah,
Something
Same.
that more countries other than the U.S. are really kind of picking up the slack.
Yeah.
yeah.
So
Nice.
we're going back to South Korea with this one called The Shaman Sorceress. It's directed by Jae Hoon An, and it uses 2D and 3D visuals to tell a story of there is a painting called The Shaman Sorceress left at my home by a mute girl and her father. This picture is worth 1,000 words. Mohua, a shaman, lives with her mute daughter Nangji and her husband, and has practiced shamanism for her entire life. One day, her son returns home after several years away and as a converted Christian. This sparks a conflict and drives the family into tragedy. This one's trailer was not very descriptive of like what the actual
Yeah.
story was. It kind of looks like it might be more operatic just from the song that plays, but I'm not entirely
Yeah.
sure. I don't think this one put
Okay.
out its best foot forward, but again, I think a lot of these studios needed to have a trailer by now.
Very good concept. Though.
Yeah, I like the concept, and if it is a musical, that would get me a little bit more interested.
Yeah, no, I like I said, this is a problem with following foreign animation, just lack of information. So, the final animated film on the Contra Jump section is called True North, which is a Japan and Indonesia collaboration by Eiji Han Shimizu. And this one has a very lightweight story. After his father disappears and the rest of his family is sent to a notorious political prison camp in North Korea, a young boy must learn to survive the harsh conditions, find meaning in his perilous existence, and maybe even escape. You know, lightweight. This one also has very little in terms of trailer footage, but it's using a very distinct 3D visual style. It reminds me of a film from 2 years ago called Funan, and and
Funan?
yeah, there's not a whole lot to say. I think Funan, Funan.
Yeah, I know. I just wondered how you pronounced it.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, and there's really not much to say unless you all have some observations to make.
No, I just really want to see it, mostly because I can tell watching that like behind the scenes clip that they're really passionate about the material.
Mm-hmm.
So I just want to see what they're so passionate about.
Yeah, no, it might be a very tough sit because that's very like from what I saw, the production said like they still had to keep their identities a secret, and I give them kudos for wanting to talk about something so traumatic and such. So, we are now moving on to the work in progress section. This is the section of the competition. Well, it's not really part of the competition, it's part of the festival where people show off their films that are almost done or in some part of production. Sometimes they're like in the early stages and then they'll like show up next year in the main competition like Swallows of Kabul was, or they're almost done and they'll be shown later this year. Like last year there was Weathering with You and Klaus. Our first film, and unfortunately again there's not a lot of information about it, is called The Island, which is it's a musical comedy and an upside down Crusoe story. Robinson is a doctor, and unlike Robinson Crusoe, his solitude is voluntary, but his island in the Mediterranean Sea is invaded by migrants, NGOs, and guards. Friday is a castaway, the only one from his boat to have survived when sailing from Africa to Italy. This is being directed. This is a Romania, France, and Belgium collaboration by Anka Damian, who last year put out a film called Morona's Fantastic Tale, which is a great movie, and it's going to have a virtual theater showing very soon, like in June. So, unfortunately, not much to say here. The pictures that you can find look really nice. The director knows how to use different visual styles, and that's true when you see the Morona's Fantastic Tale trailer. So our next one is called. Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
Virtual cinema. That's basically video on demand, right?
Virtual cinema is, it's kind of like on demand, but the money goes through the studio and the theater that you rent it from.
Yeah,
so
I've heard
it's
of
like
that
they. Yeah, so it's like on demand, but not on like any on demand service. You have to go to the website for the film to watch it that way.
Mm-hmm.
So our next film is a stop motion film from France, Italy, Belgium, and Switzerland, called No Dogs or Italians Allowed. That's quite the title. Before he passed away, my father told me his version of our family legend. For generations, we had been born, married, and died in one Piedmontese village called Ughetera. I hope I said that. Oh, land of the Ughetto, where all of the inhabitants had the same last name as ours. Who were these people? How did they live? Why did they flee? And where did they go? Is in the description. Unfortunately, it's a tech demo trailer showing off the stop motion style is the only thing available for the film. I like the visual look. It looks very old school. It kind of reminds me of like the Gumby days of stop motion, but that's just me.
Yeah, the face design reminds me a lot of Gumby, and like the like their sort of choppy movements, but for a tech demo trailer, that was very impressive.
Yeah, no. Any other thoughts from what?
The backgrounds look pretty realistic too, surprisingly.
Yeah, Keona, any thoughts?
Yeah, for a tech demo trailer, it was good. It was a little goofy.
Yeah.
So I thought it was part of the movie until you just mentioned that.
Yeah, well, I think it is what the movie's going to look like, and I think that's part of the story. But we'll have to see. We'll have to have a coin jar beforehand to say, so we can put a quarter in for every time we have to say. We'll have to wait and see, because we're going to have to wait and see what happens with Masaki Yuasa's newest film called Enyuho. Enyuho was a real life Sarukaku no performer, so like a stage performer, who enjoyed great success in 14th century Japan. Nowadays, he is unknown because there are very few documents about his life that have survived today. Almost 600 years later, this Enyuho project, full of music and dance sequences, portrays a tale of friendship between the legendary Inuo and a Baiwa player he befriends. Unfortunately, the one image you can see is on the page for the work in progress section, so there's not much to talk about. But if you know Masaki Yuasa, the famed director behind Devilman Crybaby, The Night is Short, Walk On Girl, Lou Over the Wall, the recently released Ride Your Wave, and the upcoming Netflix series Japan Sinks, he's going to have a distinct style, and it's probably going to be a little surreal and wild looking. But yeah, I apologize about this one not having too much information on.
Although the description sounds interesting.
Yeah, it sounds promising. So we will move on to our next film, which is from good old Canada and USA, called Lamia's Poem. A young Syrian refugee girl finds a magical gateway to meet the great 13th century poet Rumi and helps him write the poem that 800 years later saved her life. Unfortunately, there's this film directed by Alexander Cronenberg. There's not a whole lot to look at, just the visuals alone. It looks fine. I want to see some, like, how it looks in motion. But since there's no trailer out for it or any test footage or anything, there's not much to say about this one.
Definitely intriguing in terms of the plot.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, timely. Very timely.
Very timely indeed. It kind of reminds me of some films that came out these past few years, like The Breadwinner and Window Horses, which for some reason there's not a US release for Window Horses. It's a great movie. So our next film that got some hype is called The Summit of the Gods, a 2D feature by Patrick Imbert, who worked on films like Ernest and Celestine and The Big Bad Fox and Other Tales. It's a France-Luxembourg collaboration. Did George Mallory die going up or coming down the summit of Everest? June 8th, 1924. 70 years later, when Fukamachi, a young reporter, buys an old Kodak camera in a market in Kathmandu, I apologize again if I butcher any of this, he thinks he can find the answer. This discovery draws him into the world of eager mountaineers chasing impossible conquests, where love and ghosts intertwine. It sounds interesting. I love the visual that that they have on the page, but again, not a whole lot to look at or watch.
Yeah,
and maybe it's because Adam Ruins Everything kind of demystified, or not kind of, he did demystify the whole Mount Everest, like the mystery and wonder of it all, because there's a bunch of garbage and dead people up there.
Hopefully the film can at least like put a little mystery back into Everest.
Yeah, no, and it's like, it's not Adam Ruins Everything's fault that he demystified it. It's just kind of like, you think about it for more than 2 seconds and it's like, oh yeah, that whole mountain is covered in bodies. Now finally, the work in progress section gave us something to look at in a film from Colombia and Argentina called Lynn and the Song of the Whales. Lynn, a wild and curious 9-year-old, is afraid of water in a tribe where all activities take place in the sea next to the whales. That's like not being able to swim in Waterworld. She receives a warning from a stranger from another tribe about an imminent tsunami and a tough mission to convince them to leave their home and trust their enemies to survive. This one again is a teaser trailer. We don't know if this is what it's going to look like by when it's finally released. When that is, we'll see. But I like the visual look. I like all these films trying out different children's book styles, because that's what was so fun about looking at children's books when you were young. All these different art styles. Any thoughts about the trailer, or did y'all have time to see the teaser?
Definitely looks
Yeah,
good.
I like the style of this as well. Going back to what I said earlier, just the fact that so many of these countries around the world are really leaning into 2D animation just makes me so happy.
Yeah, no, it's something that the US market can start learning from. And a lot of these movies, they don't cost $90 million. They cost at most maybe 20. And they just got a very creative art team to make the film come to life. That's really all you need.
Yeah, in most cases, I don't think they can even afford to do CGI.
Yeah, or if they can, they get really creative with it. That's really what you have to do. Otherwise, you end up with a bunch of direct-to-video films that look super cheap looking CGI. They look like PS1 games and such.
Right.
So,
and we don't need to see more of those.
No, we absolutely don't, and they don't need to be coming to theaters. I don't know how the heck you got there, Norma the North. I will find out one day. So our next film is from Latvia and the USA. It's a mixed media project called My Love Affair with Marriage. The audience is taken inside the wild, imaginative mind of Zelma as she goes on a 23-year quest for perfect love and lasting marriage. This is a film directed by Signe Baumane. And again, this is one of those films that combines 2D and different art styles to make something that pops. Now, could it maybe get lost in translation? We'll have to see. I mean, like it from like using the different visual styles. We'll have to see. But I kind of want to see how this one unfolds.
Did anyone pay attention to the cast of this film?
I was gonna say that. Yeah, you look at the cast for the movie. It's actually
you have like Emma Kenny, Cameron Monaghan, Stephen Lang, Matthew Modine.
Yeah,
this is that. If for no other reason, that's why this one has my attention.
I think that's a great cast. I forgot about that. So, and that's not a shock to hear Matthew Modine in a foreign animation film project. He pops up everywhere. Jacob, any thoughts?
Animation kind of reminds me of Bill Plimpton. Did you get that impression too? Bill Plimpton?
Oh yes. Yeah. Oh yeah, the art style does look like that. Yeah. It very much looks like a Bill Plimpton look, especially with how the humans look.
I can see that.
Too. Yeah. Sideways too.
All right. Yeah. So, we're going to go through this next one quickly because again, there's not a whole lot. It's just that one clip. Or not one clip, just one picture. It's called New Gods, Neza Reborn. This is a sequel to the Chinese animated hit from last year, Neza, by Ji Zhao, which 3,000 years after the boy god Neza conquers the Dragon King, then disappears in mythological times, he returns as an ordinary man to find his own path to become a true hero. So, context here, we were probably going to get a tease or a first look at this if Zhang Jia was out by now, but due to the virus, the film's Zhang Jia has been delayed, and there's just not a whole lot of information about this. I like the look, and Neza was a pretty good movie. It had a tone issue, and the jokes didn't all land, but I think if people want to see Chinese animation at its best, check out Neza and White Snake. Any quick thoughts?
One of those is on Netflix. I know Nezha is on Netflix.
That's good to know. I did not know that, so that's good.
Yeah, I looked it up before we recorded just to make sure.
Yeah, so it's probably going to get picked up by Wellgo USA Entertainment, who brought over Neza, who we're going to bring over. Yes, or Zhang Jia. They're bringing over that film I mentioned earlier, A Dog's Courage. So they're turning into a company I like because they're willing to bring it over, and yeah, so there's not, like I said, not a whole lot to talk about with New Gods. So let's move on to the two projects that have the most attention. We're going to go to France with Sirocco and the Kingdom of the Winds, a 2D film by Benoit Gilles. I hope I said that name correctly. And the story goes: Agnes, Juliet, and Carmen's neighbor writes children's storybooks that take place in a fantasy world, the Kingdom of the Winds. The two intrepid sisters discover a passageway between their world and this extraordinary universe. Once on the other side, the girls take on the appearance of cats and discover Sirocco, a terrifying character who can control the wind. This one caught a lot of eyes when the trailer was released earlier this year because of its quite bonkers art style and direction. It looks like a French version of Spirited Away, if people want like a reference point.
Sounds about right, yeah.
This is a film that I think everyone's been kind of keeping, at least in the animation community, has been keeping their eyes on. What have you all thought about the trailer?
I thought it looked like pretty visually stunning for like that kind of Adult Swim style.
Yeah, I could.
It's a weird combination because the story makes us sound a little bit more
whimsical,
family friendly.
Yeah,
but I could definitely see this airing on like the same night as like a Rick and Morty.
I could see that.
But yeah, I think I'm just as excited for this as I am for some of the other ones we've talked about.
Yeah, I think this one has probably the award for the most stunning visuals. I mean, you look at the trailer and it's like, wow. Keona, yeah. Jacob, any thoughts?
Not really. That's the kind of the problem when you look through this type of animated film, like this type of festival, is that the movies that are being released, they look less and less extraordinary when you sandwich between some really interesting looking gems. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
You're just kind of numb.
Yeah, no, it's like it's hard to. Yeah, it's hard to stand out when everyone is mostly bringing their A game. But to me, I think the visuals still stand out enough, even though I get that it looks like a French Ghibli movie. Keona, any thoughts?
I really like the look of it. I think it's well, when you showed me the trailer the first time, I thought it was really, really good looking. So I think it's definitely one that stands out for me. And I think I'm gonna enjoy it.
I
because it looks very surreal and weird.
Yeah, I hope it's good because it reminds me of some of the later seasons of Adventure Time, like where there's like a little more a darker tone and whatnot. Yeah, no, I think it looks like one of the more visually stunning films of the festival. So,
yeah,
once again, this next one we do not have a trailer to go off of, but if you are a video game player, I sound like an old man saying that. You play them video games? So Netflix is going to be releasing an animated series based off of the indie hit Cuphead called The Cuphead Show. And the game, known for its rubber hose animation style and punishing difficulty, will be turned into a TV series.
Nice.
With 10-minute episode, like 11 10-minute episodes. The image that we have gives it that look of like a Ren and Stimpy, a very like 90s cartoon style, or like a 90s cartoon that's wanting to imitate the rubber hose 30s and 40s style. Not much else to say. I think it looks interesting. I'm curious to see how they're going to stretch out this into a TV show, whether they go like the Looney Tunes route where it's just antics and shenanigans.
I kind of hope it is that, and like they even have like opening and closing credits that resemble classic cartoons from that era.
Yeah, because what would be the point if you're going to copy this game's super distinct art style? Like, not even other games look like this or went the distance with like Cuphead did, because the developers hand drew everything, all those moving sprites, all hand drawn. It's They put a lot of elbow grease into it.
You can see
Definitely.
the
Yeah.
craft.
Yeah, but yeah, we'll have to wait and see how it looks in motion to see if they copy the fluidness or if it's going to be a little more computer focused, like Flash and such. Now, normally we would stop there, or at least that's where I would stop, because usually, or I would round out the festival preview guide with like, here's some films are going to play, or like there are US films that are going to premiere there. Well, since the virus is pushing this online, that's not going to happen. So I decided to bring up this very specific film from the making of section. And
this is one that Cameron and I have been hyping up for, I want to say, 4 years now?
Yeah, 4 years. It's called Animal Crackers, directed by Tony Bancroft and Scott Christian Sava. If you are an animation fan, you have probably known about this film's wildly troubled distribution history. Now, it was originally made and shown at Annecy back in 2017, where it got pretty solid reviews. Some criticism aimed at the CGI animation, but most praised it for its script and the casting of John Krasinski and Emily Blunt as the lead couple, along with other big names like Danny DeVito, Ian McKellen, Sylvester Stallone, and everyone's favorite comedy character actor, Patrick Warburton. They will be talking about the production of the film, and I'm sure maybe throw some shade at the distributors that screwed them over. Because Netflix will be picking this one up and will be probably releasing it maybe in July, maybe August. We'll have to see. So let's talk about this, because this is the one news story I kept out of the news stuff from earlier, because there's just a lot to talk about with this film.
Yeah, starting with the fact that it's been through 3 different like distributors before Netflix was like, yeah, we'll save you.
Yeah, so, and one of those distributors was the distributor of Arctic Dogs, one of the biggest financial bombs of 2019.
Oh yeah, Entertainment Studios.
Brilliant,
because you gotta trust a distributor that's called Entertainment Studios. It totally doesn't sound like a scam. So has it, like, if you all have seen the trailer, what do you all think about how the movie looks, or like what do you think about the overall movie?
I think it looks great. I honestly, I love people bag on the animation style. I think that they wisely chose not to go for photorealism with the budget they had. I think the character designs are very appealing. I especially love the detail of the main character having blue peach fuzz.
Yeah, that's a very nice detail, actually. Like, this is one of those films that gets by with its CGI budget limitations by being more creative in the art direction department. Yeah, because I agree. I think the designs look great.
The lighting is also
Keona, any thought? Go ahead.
The lighting is also beautiful too. I gotta say, like you said, I love the cast. I love John Krasinski and Emily Blunt, because they actually are a married couple. Of course, they're gonna have really good chemistry, and it really shines from what I've heard. I've been following this movie too, and for these past few years, and it was just breaking my heart to see it go through so much in the distribution phase, and there was always this fear deep down that it would never see the light of day, and and I was always on edge, and
Mm-hmm.
And whatever news that came out of it, because I just like to see talented artists get rewarded for it in the end, for all the hard work they've done. And um yeah, I'm glad that, like I said, Netflix has kind of become the hero for different animated movies. They were planning for a theatrical release for this movie. Um, but because I honestly do not know how this movie would have survived in theater. I can't see it surviving from a theatrical release. It just wouldn't. It would have been massacred.
Yeah, I think going to Netflix should have been its original intent, and nothing against it. It's like I'm always rooting for a new animated film to compete alongside Disney, Pixar, DreamWorks, and so on. But sometimes it is like you should go to Netflix, not because of quality, but because you'll reach a wider audience. And I think it was, while it took forever and Netflix had a few weak excuses about why they didn't pick this film up right away, um, I'm happy that it's going to at least finally come out, so it doesn't turn into vaporware or whatever the term is, where it's like it's forever gone and such. So, Keona, any thoughts?
Skews a little bit young for me, but I will say that the cast is great. The animation looks really good, and the fact that the score is by Bear McCreary, who did Battlestar Galactica, the reimagining of
That's
that show,
nice.
and also apparently the soundtrack includes original songs by Toad the Wet Sprocket, Huey Lewis and the News, and Michael Bublé, but we can do without him. It's interesting. Toad the Wet Sprocket. I wouldn't have expected.
No,
that.
it's Tony Bancroft is a very interesting person. I follow him on Twitter. He used to work at Disney and was a co-director for a few of the '90s Disney films.
Mulan being like the one that stands out.
Yeah. So, and you can definitely see that a lot in the humor of the film. Like I like how the narrator, who's played by this clown, voiced by Danny DeVito, it's like this couple needed something different because their lives aren't great. So congratulations, you are now the inherited owners of an old worn down circus. and then there's like a scene in the trailer where Patrick Warburton shows up, and he's the obnoxious dumb punk. Like if you've seen that kind of character he's played, where he's like that, yeah, like the tick, especially like that, and you see him like make his pecs dance, and then you can tell there's like, and you can hear a little bongo beat in the background. They're just like, oh my gosh, why is he doing that? I don't know. It's like, I can't believe he gets paid more than me. Yeah, I don't know how that happens. So yeah, no, it just to end this on an optimistic note. I'm glad for Animal Crackers.
Yeah, same. I'm having like a brief interaction with the directors on Twitter. I'm just so happy like they can finally show this movie to an audience. Like that's a weight they can lift off their shoulders for after like years of trying to get this movie off the ground. Now Netflix has come in and save the day. And also I think this is probably the most perfect use of Danny DeVito. Like he's like this isn't the first time that he's played this type of character. Just like the dialogue in this trailer is it feels like it was written specifically for him.
Yeah, no, he reminds me of his character from Smallfoot. Like there's that scene where they talk about like how in Smallfoot you ring the gong by hitting your head against the item, and then it's like, so has the entire family done this? And like, oh yeah, and he goes through a bunch of names of people who have just like basically crushed their skulls and their spines down, and then there's Frank and his stupid stick theory. Nobody talks about him anymore. So Danny DeVito is so funny, and I know like he's kind of not trapped in that It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia character he plays. Not like like it seems like he loves playing that character because he's the one who convinced whatever channel it used to play on to it's like no, give it a second season, I'll join, and it'll be great. um so I think Danny DeVito is going to be a lot of the heart in this film, and
he's really good at like towing that line between like the cynic, like the cynic with a heart of gold.
yeah, it reminds me of his character in Matilda, the live action Roald Dahl film from like that he directed with who was the young actress who was in that?
Mara Wilson.
Yeah, Mara Wilson. Where they're like, it's like, can we read a book? And he's just like, why do you want to read a book when everything's in front of you and on TV? And it's just like, he's such a good character actor, and definitely watch Romancing the Stone. He's great in that movie. But now we are done. I apologize for this being a very long podcast, at probably our longest, and I probably could have cut a few of the films out, but this is how I roll. I overdo it on a lot of this stuff. So
hey, that's all right. We had a great discussion of all these films.
And we went longer on the Final Fantasy VII remake spoiler.
Okay, I was just making sure.
Yeah, this is about average length for us.
Yeah, it's getting to be.
Okay, I'm just making sure because I was a little worried going through the podcast. Yeah. So, any closing thoughts about this year's Annecy lineup?
I'm gonna say this one more time. Seeing the amount of 2D animated films on those lists just makes me so happy.
Yeah. Did y'all have like a favorite overall film that you're looking forward to the most, or is there like a film that you think looks the most promising, the one that might be the biggest disappointment? Anything of that matter?
Actually, I'm looking forward to Animal Crackers because we should also add that the trailer we're talking about that trailer came out in 2017, so. Yeah, that really gives them context into how long this movie's taken to finally see the light of day. And there are some movies that I think look a little more promising than this one, but at this point I just really want to watch Animal Crackers now.
I know who.
Yeah, I think Animal Crackers is my number one. My number two would be Lupin the Third, the first, and number three. Number three, I think is. Hold on, I'm looking it up now.
No worries. If you need help, remembering it, you can describe it, and I have the notes that I took. I took very extensive notes for this.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nope. Number three is Ongaku Our Sound.
Yeah, I knew that was going to be there. For me, the ones I'm looking forward to the most are like honorable mention goes to Animal Crackers, and the ones I'm excited to see are Calamity, 7 Days.
Oh, that was my number 4.
Oh yeah, so let's do 4 for now on. So Animal Crackers, Calamity, Lupin. Did I say 7 Days War? Okay. Let's see, Lupin and Ongaku Our Sound. I think those look like the most fun, and I hope those are all watchable in their entirety. Annecy, if you know what's good for you, you'll make those the ones that people can see fully.
For me, I think it was Lupin the Third is the first one for me, and then 7 Days War, and then The Legend of Hay. And then I think Ongaku as well.
Jacob?
Yeah, Annecy, I just really hope that film festivals don't, even with the virus lifted, that all these bans lifted, that they wouldn't go the way of just going online. I do hope we get some physical festivals in the future, and Annecy included, because they do so much for animated movies, obviously. And yeah, I just hope that this is only a one-time thing.
Do you have 4 films that you're looking forward to hearing about?
I'm sorry.
Oh, no, it's okay.
Animal Crackers, Calamity Jane one, Calamity one, Loop on the Third, the first, and Beauty Water.
Alrighty. Do we want to do recommendations for anything now, or should we just move end it all, or should we just finish up?
If anyone has any recommendations, now would be the time.
Well, since HBO Max is one of the topics we talked about, check out the new Looney Tunes shorts. They are ridiculously funny. Just go watch them.
Yeah, they're good.
Shout out to Eric Bauza and the rest of the voice cast. They do such a good job with the voices, and this is a very distinct era of Looney Tunes that they're lifting from, and it's different from Chuck Jones, and they're pulling more from Bob Clampett and Tex Avery from this.
And
time.
to add to that, I was complaining earlier about the shorts that were on HBO Max, but the ones they do have are still really good. So I would, if you're like a casual Looney Tunes fan, go back and watch some of those originals too, because they were, for their time, revolutionary in theatrical animation.
Alrighty. Any other recommendations?
Other than Promare, I'm gonna say the Studio Ghibli movies. I'm gonna go and check those out because there's a lot that I haven't seen, and I think I'm gonna watch Perfect Blue at some point this week.
That's a really good movie.
Yeah, it's a great movie. We'll probably have to have an episode or something talking about Satoshi Kon at one point.
I would be down for that.
Yeah. Jacob, any recommendations?
Well, you guys know I'm a big Studio Ghibli fan, and I just recommend, Keona, I think you're really in for some real gems there. I don't really think there's a bad one you can start off of your new binge. I just think all of them are worth checking out, even the ones that people think are less than stellar, like Tales of Mercy and The Cat Returns. And yeah, I think just enjoy the Ghibli legacy.
Yeah, sounds good.
All right, and with that said, I think it's time to wrap this up. Cameron, where can everyone find you?
You can find me on Twitter at Cam's Eye View, Instagram the same. You can also check out my personal website, camseyeview.biz, where I review animated films and live action films. You can also check out my old video game reviews if you want. I have a recent review up for Once Upon a Forest, one of the 2 20th Century Fox animated films about environmentalism. And I'm going to be uploading a new review tomorrow for a film that I can't fully talk about, but I got a screener for. So it's nothing that we talked about on here, but just be on the lookout for it.
All right. Jacob?
Nice. You can find me at Jacob Crable on Facebook. I'm also part of the Renegade Pop Culture Facebook group, and I write articles on the website occasionally.
All right, Keona?
Of course, you can find me on renegadepopculture.com, and also in the Facebook group. And also, we have a new Twitter page, an official Twitter page, which is at Ren Pop Culture. So that's capital REN, capital POP, and then capital C for culture, basically. Yep. So Ren Pop Culture on Twitter.
Awesome.
Check it
And
out.
you guys can find me on Twitter and Instagram at CaptainK42. Check out my quick thoughts on letterbox.com/CoachK42. And look for me on all the various Facebook groups just at my name. And check out the Renegade Pop Culture Facebook group, the Renegade Pop Culture Twitter, and check out all our content on renegadepopculture.com. Need an escape? So do we. Thanks, guys, for joining us for another episode of Tooned Up. Catch you guys later.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Peace out.